So that's one of my very most favorite Beatles songs. And I think I need to just say quickly, I am not condoning any drug use that you might have picked up from that song. I do want to focus, I think, on the broader point that I think John, Paul, George, and Ringo understood that we can't do this thing that we call life by ourselves. It just doesn't work if we try and go at it alone. I also think the author of Ecclesiastes understood that. We need each other. A three-chord strand is pretty unbreakable. We all make each other stronger. And they both tell us, the Beatles and Ecclesiastes, that it's important to live in community. I noticed, though, as I listened to the passage and listened to the song, neither one of these authors really give us a way to live in community. They understand, and I agree with them, that it's important to live in community, but they never really tell us how that might be done successfully. And we all know it's not easy to live in community. So as we think about ways to actually live in community, I would like to be in an attitude of prayer. Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Amen. I want to, as we get started, I do want to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Amanda Herron, and I grew up in this congregation, and I am currently in the process of going through seminary and going through the ordination process. I am just finishing my first year of seminary at Iliff School of Theology, which is in Denver. I am thoroughly enjoying my classes and the city of Denver. So that being said, let's get back a little bit to this thing about living in community. I have been learning a lot about John Wesley. He's the founder of Methodism, so of course we get a lot about him. And he is, thank you. They knew to do that before I did. He, I think, had some really great ideas about how to live in community. He would get up with his friends at 4 in the morning every single day to be pretty intentional about talking about their own faith journeys. They used a set of questions, which you'll see in a minute, to help guide their discussions about how they could live as Christians in the world better. And they reflected on that. And I think that is absolutely amazing. So I would like to look at the slides, just one by I'll tell you when. So these are, I want you to spend a little bit of time looking at these. There are 22 questions, so we do not have time to look at each individual question here today. But I want you to at least spend a little bit of time read through them, see if there's anything that trips your trigger, anything that tugs at your heart. I did put them in the bulletin insert, so if you would like to think about using them as a tool someday, you are welcome to use them and make them your own. Can we do the next one? So just glance over these. Can we do the next one? And the last one. And can we go to the next slide? I hope it's blank. Oh, don't pay attention to that. There you go. Thank you. So when I came across these questions, I thought, I was pretty excited. I thought, oh, this will be great to help focus my journaling. I journal off and on, and I thought this would be a good way to get back into that habit. And I did that for a few days. And as I started thinking about the questions and about what I knew about how John Wesley and his friends used the questions, I realized that a lot of the transformative power of these questions comes from the fact that they're meant to be done as a group. They're meant to be done in community and face-to-face with each other. I'm not saying that it should be done every day, but at least maybe once a week or once a month. I think that's where the real power comes in, that holding each other accountable and actually looking at somebody in the face and saying, well, this is what I did good about these questions, or this is where I might have fallen short. I know that for me, that's a little intimidating. It can be hard to confront somebody about maybe where you might see there's some ways they can grow or change the way that they interact with people. And it's also hard to hear that. So it's a struggle to think about doing these questions with each other. But I think that that's the important part, that being in community. And I think that if we really spend some time really thinking about these questions and talking to each other, that's where change could happen. That's where you might feel the Spirit calling to do something you may never think about. So, to get a little practice, I would like to spend a little bit of time, I'd like to give you each a little bit of time to talk to your neighbor about one of these questions, maybe two. We do not have time to do all of them. So pick a question that you might have that stood out in your mind as we were looking through them. If you want to look, they're in your bulletin, so if you've forgotten them. So I will set a timer for about 3 minutes. So you have about 3 minutes to turn and talk to somebody around you. Now, if you're sitting far away from somebody, feel free to move. And also, don't feel like you have to share. I hope that you do this, but don't feel put on the spot either. Does this make sense? Okay, go ahead. Okay, my timer is beeping, so it is time to return to the group. Thank you for humoring me and talking at least about something. Hopefully you all stayed on task. I don't know. I hope that this was not too tricky, too difficult for you. I was hoping that you would see that this is not a difficult thing to check in with each other, to help hold each other accountable, to really think a little bit more about your faith and how you live it out. I also want to make sure that you all are reminded that this place, this town, this church, your families, everybody would not be the same without you around. So each of you are important to this community of faith, and I hope that you can hold each other in love and build each other up and encourage each other, and great things can happen. Amen.